As I was getting ready to make this video, a thought came across my mind. Do I really even like Fire Emblem Engage? So I sat down to write just some bullet points that I wanted to talk about, and more of them were negative than I thought. This is a game that I've been playing recently that I really haven't been able to put down, yet for some reason I have a number of negative things to say about it. And just so everyone knows, I love Fire Emblem as a series. And not just Three Houses, I mean like Awakening, and there's so many other games that I've played in the series that I really do have fond memories of. In fact, strategy RPGs are some of my favorite battle mechanics to have in a game. And for so long, I didn't really think there was a lot of games that had that outside of like Final Fantasy Tactics. And so when I discovered Fire Emblem, I was really happy to find another series that utilized that sort of grid style combat. But with Fire Emblem Engage, we'll just start off with the story. So, you are the Divine Dragon. You've been awakened after 1,000 years of slumber because of the resurrection of the Fell Dragon. You and him had a massive battle off 1,000 years ago, putting both of you actually in a deep coma. And your mom is there to welcome you back to the world as she's been waiting open-armed or open-winged for you to return. You also meet your retainers and people who've been taking care of you. And you learn about where you've been staying, Lithios, which is inaccessible to most humans. In fact, it's almost impossible for them to achieve this without knowing where to go, and from what I understand in the game, it's very difficult to even find this area. So it's pretty much a safe haven, if you will, and later does become your headquarters. After some rejoicing and some training, an event happens where some tragedy strikes, and you find out that your main goal now is to stop the Fell Dragon. He's been resurrected and came to basically conquer the entire world. But the only goal that you have to stop him is by collecting these emblem rings. These rings that summon heroes of the past to help you fight against this ultimate evil. Now, you already have a couple of them, and each country, kingdom, nation state, whatever, they all have a ring as well. So now you have to travel the entire world trying to collect these rings, and it's not as easy as it sounds because, of course, they all end up missing or end up falling into hands that are quite unsavory. Now, be honest, the story for me so far hasn't been that great. It's been kind of generic, and something I'm kind of used to. Okay, big baddie, go fight him. And I understand that as I'm going to play the game, there's going to be some twists and turns, but probably nothing that unexpected. Now, it's not the fault, really, of Fire Emblem Engage, because I've been also playing Diofield Chronicles, which has a very deep, complex, rich story that I think is far better. But that's not really where this game excels. No, in fact, where its storytelling really comes to play is in its characters. This game has a lot of great cutscenes and amazing animation, as well as character design. And the art style that they use just makes these characters pop off the screen. Their dialogue is really great. It's fully voice acted and done to perfection. Not to mention the fact that these characters are just kind of fun and easygoing. Even the bad ones are a little bit more lighthearted as compared to some other games I've been playing. And I will address the sim-shaped character in the room. No, it's not that. It's not the fact that this isn't Fire Emblem Three Houses. In fact, honestly, I'm not really sure where a lot of that complaint or we're moving away from the sim style really is. I mean, so many of the same things can be found in this game, including like adopting animals, eating meals with your cohorts, also the special gift giving and the bond links, and all of that stuff is actually still in this game. In fact, again, I have to say, I'm not exactly sure where some of the sim stuff does come from. Yes, I think it would have been interesting if they had made it more of like a military camp or a base where you do a lot of training and stuff, but actually there is some of that in this as well. And there may not be as many little special missions that you do for your friends and your teammates or whatever, but there is still a lot of sim interaction, getting to know your people. I don't know about the whole falling in love thing, but honestly, that really didn't add up to anything in Three Houses anyway, so it didn't really add much to the story. I do want to make one slight note, and that is that this is not a review video. This is just a thoughts video. I've been playing it more than I thought I would, and so I wanted to talk about it. And one of those things that I wanted to talk about really was the length of the game. You see, I'm already like halfway through or almost over halfway through, and I really haven't felt like I've committed much time to it. Like, yes, it's probably been over 7-8 hours, but it's been like tepid dipping my toe into the game. And yes, once I start playing, I do find it hard to turn it off, but honestly, I don't really feel that commitment that I put into other games and decide like, oh, this is going to be my RPG. In fact, I really just kind of wanted to check it out briefly and then go back to Diofield Chronicles and then Persona 4 and then Fire Emblem Engage. But I found myself going further and further in this game than I really thought I could, and that's when a thought really kind of sparked in my brain. And that is, did they make this game for DLC? Did they purposely make this game short? I'm not saying like that's a bad thing or a good thing. If you have a full story and it is a solid 30-40 hours, I get it. A lot of people are going to enjoy that, and so am I, honestly. But I also don't like the idea of them making a shortened version of a game so that they can sell you on the DLC. And again, that's not what I'm claiming they're doing. I'm just concerned that that's a direction that this is going. As fast as the story seems to be moving, and as, I don't know, as hollow as the whole overarching story is. And maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm tired of that same good versus evil thing, and the evil always turning out to be something you didn't think it was, but it's much more evil and blah, blah, blah. I've seen it 100 times. Now, I also understand that there's a certain comfort in that kind of tradition, but I don't know. I'm very torn on this, because not a lot has really caught me off guard by this game. I've seen everything coming from a mile away. And yes, the combat is great, and I enjoy the permadeath. In fact, that's one of the things that's probably taken me the longest, is that a couple of my characters will get killed, and I gotta use the time magic to go back in time so they don't get killed. I enjoy the strategy of it, and I'm sure that that's where a lot of my game has went to. I also really enjoy making the rings and upgrading my equipment and all of that stuff in these type of games. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying like any of that is hollow or wrong. I'm just saying that the story feels rushed, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just something that gets more and more complex or has more depth as the game goes on. And I also believe that this game lives and breathes on the battlefield. This is where people either fall in love with it or hate it. Yes, there's so much with the characters, the storylines, the interactions between the characters, but there again, a lot of that comes down to the battlefield again, because you're very protective of these characters, and when they go down in battle, you know that they're gone permanently, and that is a problem. But like I said, I just feel like as where Three Houses was a game that just was never ending, I feel like this one, I'm almost already at the end, and I barely felt like I put that much into it. Again, I will say though, this probably has my favorite character design of any game. And yes, I really do love the combat. I love the chain style. I love all the different tactics that you can do. But this is just my initial thought about the game, and so I thought I would just mention this and see what you guys think. Have you been playing it? Is this something that you're also kind of in line with? Or maybe you think I'm completely wrong and you think, you just go play longer, get into the story more. Whatever, I'm on chapter 12. I haven't noticed too much of a difference. The thing I've noticed the most is just an accelerated difficulty, but again, this is just initial thoughts. I'm still far away from the end, I believe, I hope, but I guess I'm just worried about its length, and I'm worried about them focusing on DLC more than focusing on the main content. Like with Xenoblade Chronicles 3, it has so much content, there's so much to do. I was actually relieved to see the finish line, but I don't know if I feel that way with this game. I almost feel like it's coming up way quicker than I anticipated. But again, just thoughts. I'm going to make a part 2 once I beat the game and kind of fully go into other aspects of the game, but just thought I would leave this out so you guys could check it out and see what your thoughts are on this game, because I'm really curious what other people have to say, especially when you pry away the veneer of Nintendo and Fire Emblem and you just talk about the game as a game. I would appreciate your thoughts down in the comment section below, and if you would be so inclined, a like, a sub, and honestly, actually just watching the next video of mine would really help the channel out. Anyway guys, take care. Bye bye.